Hello, welcome to Ballater, Friday the 23rd of April. We're really excited because we're opening on Monday. It's Monday the 26th of April. Come into the gallery, come and see us. Everything, or almost everything in the gallery is new that you haven't seen before. We've got a huge Marion Drummond in the window, a Gordon Wilson. We've got a lovely David Smith and Alison Cowan and some new Andrew Thompson. So anyway, come inside and see the new show. So you're inside the gallery now, and it is exciting. Fiona and Helen have worked really hard to get a whole new show together. There might, I think at 99%, there might be one little painting or something like that that had been here before we closed in December. But really what we've managed to put through is a reopening show. So really the paintings that are on here are all new. So it's exciting. Come to Ballater and visit us, or keep looking at the website and we'll come to you. We're still doing that. I was in Edinburgh last weekend with paintings, quite a lot actually. So, I'm distracted here. Why is my foot tapping? Just to digress, I heard that Les McEwen from the Bay City Rollers sadly died, and I've been tapping my foot to Shanghai and Beach Baby the whole way out to Ballater from Aberdeen. And I was just saying to Tom, who's taking the video, I was trying to remember, I have a scar there, and somebody might think, I bet he did that boxing. Actually, here's the funny story. It wasn't boxing. Funnily enough, we've just sold an amazing painting by Alistair Little called Low, one of the best paintings I had in here. It was of boxers. Anyway, I digress. I was thinking about the Bay City Rollers. Me and my friends, when we started Aberdeen Grammar when we were about 12 or 13, upset the teachers because we wore platform shoes. My heel tripped in a mat well at school. I went flying into a radiator, and that's where the scar comes from, not a boxing fight. What's that got to do with anything? Anyway, right, we'll get on to, this is a newsletter. It's supposed to be informal and chatty. So, as usual, people have been emailing and saying, David, please tell us what's been happening. It's a newsletter, what's been sold. So, in the last 2 days, 2 paintings have sold, and they're big ones, and they were both, funnily enough, new paintings. We'd 7 or 8 new paintings from Jack Morocco. And on Wednesday night, a really beautiful painting called Lute, Lilies and Harlequin, a bright studio still life, was snapped up. And then the following night, the incredible, what was it called again? Lily Pond Setting Sun, a reflection, very clever Lily Pond painting by Jack of sky at night reflecting onto the Lily Pond. So both sold. So, it's funny about artists, when you guys are asking me, could you tell us what's sold, what's new, and all the rest of it, artists often have a run of selling paintings, and then they have a period where nothing sells, and it really is quite strange. And jumping on from Jack Morocco, a similar vintage of painter Glenn Schooler, a really beautiful painting sold like that by Glenn. We have a few paintings by Glenn available, and it was a cracking painting called Rocky Shoreline Ely. Hopefully Tom's going to drop these paintings in while we're talking, and it's funny, I love Ely, should be there quite a lot at the moment for different reasons. Anyway, it was just a beautiful painting that went very, very quickly to a very discerning collector who'd never had a Glenn Schooler painting. Funnily enough, they bought one of the small Moroccos of Venice, but the first time they'd had a Schooler in their house, not far from Aberdeen. What else has sold? Well, talking about paintings that sell quickly, a painting only arrived on the Monday, went to the website at 12 o'clock, and it was called Blackbirds in Prunus by Andrew Thompson. You all are probably aware that Andrew Thompson's paintings in the gallery tend to be small, beautiful, sell very well. We've got 3 new paintings, little ones, but this big one, Blackbirds in Prunus, was just incredible. And the person who bought it very quickly saw it on the website, phoned me and said, have you got a photograph of a close-up? That's what I like people to do. Any time of day, drop an email or a text or whatever, and send me it, and I'll get a close-up to let you see. So they saw it drop into the website, they got in touch with me, they said Blackbirds in Prunus, they loved the sort of the tree, the gold of the moon, and it really was a spectacular paint. I think it was about 4,500 from memory, and it just went like that. So talking about other things that are being sold, David Smith, he continues to be very, very popular, and we've got quite a lot of new paintings by David, some in here and some on the website. We have, obviously, we try to have every artist for the show with at least one painting. Some have more, some have less, but obviously there are lots on the website which aren't in the gallery. So the painting that again sold instantly by David Smith was called Black House on Harris, and it was just a joyous, happy painting. I've been to Harris and previously sold. I remember selling a hotel called Scarista House in my previous life on the beach, and I'm not a very outdoorsy kind of person, and I was blown away by the beaches, and gosh, David Smith can capture the islands. What else sold? Oh, Tony Allen, one of my newer signings. Tony Allen sold a lovely painting to a lady who'd recently moved into a retirement flat, and she wanted something new. She won't mind me saying, she's in her 80s, and she fell in love with this, and it's Pride of Place above her mantelpiece, and it's End of the Day by Tony Allen. Have a look at Tony Allen's paintings. They're very clever. If you want just to flick up there, Tom, for 1 second, there's a new painting by Tony called Evening Sun on the River Erne. Often Tony doesn't say where they are, but he loves Perthshire. Let's just leave it at that. Going about other things, Marion Drummond. Everybody knows Marion. Massive seller around Britain, top of her game. She doesn't just paint flowers, but she's phenomenal at painting flowers, using the techniques of rags and fingers, and they're not what you'd call botanically painted, but they're wonderful with soul coming through them. Marion also has, I don't know, maybe in the last 2 months, had 3 commissions, and one of them for a lady abroad who actually had been given a beautiful bouquet by her kids. I think it was maybe Mother's Day, and she loved the bouquet so much. She said to me, David, do you think there's any way Marion could paint the bouquet so I'll always remember it? And Marion did. It'll never be exact, but it's very, very close. So, and also a really lovely painting just went in the last couple of days called Pretty Pinks, I think it was, by Marion. But we'll go around the gallery for a tour in a second, talking about paintings that you might have been watching that have been here before, and this might jolt your memory. There was an outstanding painting by Ryan Mutter called Offshore. Now, I'll be honest, here's this one. We thought that painting would go in 3 days, a week. Didn't. Actually took a month, 2 months. And Offshore by Ryan Mutter, his first ever painting as far as I'm aware, with the guys in the Clyde thinking about their future, where might it end and what was the future, and of course it was oil to a degree. So that painting sold again to a very discerning collector in Glasgow, and we couriered it down there. No extra charge, that's what we do to the buyer in Glasgow, who was delighted with it. That was a painting that, if you like, had been here for a while. And I'm going to talk quickly about another painting, which again surprised us. A lot of people had been watching it. And what's the phrase, if you're not fast, you're last, or if you snooze, you lose. Quite a few people did snooze and watched this painting, and they lost. And the painting was called The 3 Degrees by Georgina McMaster. We're waiting on a new painting to come in from Georgina, but again, that one went to somebody who basically just kind of had to have it. They just thought, wow, the bees and everything on it. Other paintings that have been selling, Margaret Evans, and Margaret won't mind telling you, she'd a few months without selling anything. Then all of a sudden, 1, 2, 3, just a couple of weeks ago, Margaret sold a painting called Nightfall over Loch Mick, another one called Indigo Sky at Ballater, because I've spoken about Margaret before, you know, right at the top of her game in pastels. And then she had another one called The Stillness of Winter. If you look at all these 3, you'll see Margaret's still ability to capture the stillness of the countryside and the moodiness. And we have about another 6 paintings in by Margaret Evans. So have a look at them on the website. I'm not going to go on and on about too much about what's sold, but just to draw your attention here, Ian Faulkner, we got 5 little paintings and a big one. You possibly remember this. The big one is called Rendezvous, and that sold incredibly quickly. It had to be diverted by the courier en route to us. And we had other little paintings by Ian of San Francisco, the Spanish Steps, New York, Paris, all sold. We're left with only one, and funnily enough, I genuinely would have to say one of my favourites, Shanghai Contemplation, in a beautiful walnut frame, and it really allows you to get on the original level of maybe if you've had prints before, and you can't really have the opportunity to buy a Faulkner at £5,000 normally. Just moving up here, it's interesting because we've got these 2 beautiful little paintings by Denise Finley. They're so tiny, they're almost, well, look at the size, 5 centimetres by 5 centimetres. Why am I talking to you about these, Denise's work, at the same time as Ian? The connection is, Ian and Denise graduated the same year at Glasgow School of Art, and they're both, funnily enough, massive fans of one another. So a couple of pieces there by them. I was going to mention Alison Cowan, who has been a huge seller in the gallery. You know, I think we've sold about 50 of Alison's paintings in the last year, and she paints with the wonderful thick acrylics. We got 8 new paintings by Alison in 10 days ago, and I think we only have 2 or 3 left, but she's managed to find me, by hook or by crook, a couple more thistles. So if you look in the website, you'll see some, there's 2 or 3 real stunners hanging, so I won't yabble on too much about them. Again, talking about important painting that maybe took a little while to sell, Anne Oram. You know, Anne Oram is a hugely successful artist, painting mainly in oil. She does do architectural paintings. It's not all about me, as they say, but I would have to say I prefer her flowers. But the one architectural, if you like, architectural come landscape painting that I loved and I had here for quite a while was Princess Street Gardens. And I'm delighted to say it's now hung in what I would say is one of the most beautiful houses in Edinburgh which I've ever seen. And it just looks incredible against a rich blue wallpaper. So that's telling you a little bit about a lot of the art. And in fact, one more I would just like to talk to you about. We don't really have local artists on the whole because it's a different game, it's a different thing that they do. Apart from one local artist called Janice Mcelween. Janice had been with when this gallery long ago was more of a gift shop come gallery. Janice had a few paintings there and was very successful, and she will only sell through myself. And if you have a look at Janice Mcelween's paintings, she's at a real run. They tend to be local views. If you have a look there, Tom, at River Dee near Braemar. But Janice also has done, a bit like Marion Drummond, remarkably well during lockdown painting commissions. It could be Ballater High Street, it could be, you know, a favourite bridge that you have, something to remind you of Craigendarroch, something to remind you of Braemar, Cambus O'May. And, you know, Janice's paintings, like the one that Tom's just shown you there, only £295, and I think she's sold about half a dozen in the last 2 months through people people approaching us through our website, but also commissions on top of that. And funnily enough, you know, local artist, and may not be represented in the London galleries the way, you know, Stephanie Rue, the way Jack Morocco, the way Ian Faulkner are, but it's often people with some of the most incredible collections who've asked for Janice to paint. Local scenes or even paintings of their houses have been very popular as well. So I think that's enough about what we've been doing, and I want to give you a tour of the gallery. So why don't I start here with Wham Bam, an incredible painting by the one and only Joe Hargan. Now, Joe Hargan actually sent me 3 paintings about 2 weeks ago, I think, and we sold the 2 smaller ones within 2 days, The Room with a View and Each to Their Own, which hopefully Tom will drop in. So A Room with a View and Each to Their Own, both sold within 2 days. This big one, so we've had this we've had it on the website, I think, for maybe 2 weeks, but look at it now hung in the gallery. It's stunning. You know, you have Sniffy. This is the Sniffy series. Is it the Butler? Is it the Master? What's good? There's always an old masterpiece in the background, and it's irony. You know, I think everybody knows Joe Hargan was accepted by the Royal Academy many years ago. I think it was the summer show they instantly sold. And you have to work out what is going on. Why is the glass of red wine there? Why is the burger there? Why is the apple there? But I think what a lot of people are, you'll see all the red sold dots. And we haven't had Joe Hargan as long as some of the other artists, not even a year. But gosh, this is classy. It's a big painting. It's 40 by 40 inches. So that's probably, including the gorgeous frame with real gold leaf, about 50 by 50 inches. Oranges, yellows, blacks. Tells a story. I think it's one of Joe Hargan's best paintings. Just drop down here, Tom, to the David Smith painting that we've put up. This is a new one. It's called Pine Lodge and Tors at Invercald. So again, if you've been following my videos, you'll know that David Smith is an avid mountaineer, hill climber, cyclist. He's in his early 60s, he's mega fit, and he goes up with a sketchbook into the hills and really captures the scenery, and comes back to his studio in Glasgow and paints with just incredible simpleness but effectiveness. David Smith, just a great artist. We've mentioned the painting that was just sold, but David's fun. Funnily enough, I need to ask him, but he could be a Bay City Rollers fan. So what's here? We've got a few of the bronzes. Look at these by David Meredith, all the Davids. These are incredibly heavy on a granite base with the bronze, and they're £995 for a signed limited edition bronze by David Meredith, which I think is incredible value. Look great at either side of a fireplace, almost like bookends. I'm quite excited to have these. And then we have one of the rare they're so heavy because this rock is solid bronze, the whole thing is. And this is called Stargazer, utterly beautiful, massive piece of solid bronze, and at only £2,200. The editions are almost out, so you're not going to get another one of these, are very unlikely. And even if there were more, the patina is always different. So what have we got here? Well, very obviously Glenn Schooler. Why should I be so cocky as to say very obviously? It's the colour, it's the looseness. You know, Glenn, again, won't mind me saying, he's now over 70. He's been one of Scotland's biggest names, well, not just Scotland, he sells very, very well in London. I think it's a Portland gallery from memory. And Lovebirds and Cards is a whole ode to what's in, that's not really an ode, but Lovebirds and Cards. He's come up with that rhyme, I suppose, in the title, because it's what's lying in his studio. There's some flowers, I think some sunflowers. There's a bottle of wine. There's a birthday card. So Glenn, I think, was last year 70, and he had a couple of things lying around his studio when he painted this just a few months ago. So this painting has been with the gallery possibly a month now, but hadn't been seen by anybody actually in the gallery. What's beneath it? A really beautiful little painting by Jenny Matthews, Water of Leith Wildflowers. Utterly gorgeous. Jenny Matthews, somebody described her recently to me as the sort of new Elizabeth Blackadder. I don't think Jenny would mind that, because I think she was taught by Dame Elizabeth Blackadder. And probably, well, I don't like to say, I could be wrong, but probably one of the best watercolourists in the whole of the UK. So we'll go over here, Tom, to what's on the easel. Well, here we've mentioned David Smith's earlier with the painting underneath the Joe Hargan. Autumn Light at Wester Ross. It's the skies and the colours and the yellows, and it's creating mood and the houses and the boats. They're so easy to live with and to find a space. If I just sort of digress a little bit talking about landscapes, let's go straight over here. This is a big painting. Now, Linda Park, also when I was talking about things that have sold, two of Linda Park's small paintings sold to a friend of mine in Aberdeen last week, and one was of Sana San's Ardnamurchan, and the other one was of St Cyrus. And the couple phoned me and they said, we just love them. They're sentimental, their locations to us. Linda paints from the heart, and she paints places she knows. Well, she lives in Edinburgh, so this is a bit unusual. She doesn't normally paint cityscapes. She's normally country, well, not so much countryside, but more landscapes of the sea, or in Scotland, and sometimes where I think she had a holiday home in the south of France. But look, hasn't she captured this wonderful view of Edinburgh in the snow? It was only painted this winter, and if you're trying to say, well, where could this be? It's actually, it's from Salisbury Crags, and you've got the sky, you've got the castle, and you've just got the mood. And it really is, Linda has been massively successful. People who maybe don't have a lot of art in their house, and they don't want a lot of art, but they want a big statement piece. I think I've mentioned before that there's a new house builder not far from here called Snowdrop, and quite a lot of the people have noticed that they've got huge areas of kitchen dining areas, and that's where often Linda's paintings have proven hugely successful. Move down below, Tom, and we've got an absolute cracker by, again, one of the best artists in Scotland, really well known, and this is Gordon Wilson's Floral Boundary at Arran. Now, Gordon is from the West Coast, but again, he is very, very knowledgeable on the East Coast as well. He creates mood, he creates fun, he creates intrigue into his abilities and skills when he paints, and he also has beautiful frames. Could we just while I'm talking about Gordon, Tom, if we could just nip over here, because here's a smaller painting called Poppy Sea at Ballater, and it's just a mass of poppies that Gordon saw somewhere when he was in Ballater, I won't say where, and then captured the cottage in front of it. And if you just move back a little bit, this painting here I don't think will be around for long, because I know somebody who's coming out to see it, and it's called Bees, and so B''S. And it's only £850 for a Gordon Wilson, which is quite incredible, and a really beautiful frame. And the bee, of course, is sitting on the nose. If we could just, I am really moving around, but this seems to be what people like. This is Dale Bisland's departure. So we have, I think, 6 new paintings by Dale Bisland. I wasn't able to put them all up here, but it's really interesting because Dale's been hugely successful here with me. And if you look at Dale's paintings on the website, you'll see he does different sort of moods when it's the time of day, different scenery. This, I'll give you a little secret, is fabulous, and it's from the Prunus Hotel looking out to sea. But what I'm really wanting to talk about with Dale's painting I think that the selection Dale sent me up look even better in reality when they're hung than they do on our website photographs. So when you look in the website and you see a photograph of a painting, not just Dale's, I mean, this is next to Cecilia Cardiff, they look good, but when you see them in reality, they look even better. And above here, we have Circus Grey, which is I lived in Glasgow for 20 years, and my goodness, he's captured Park Circus looking down, I think probably to Woodlands Road, and the light really hits it. Tom, I know this is a pest, but if we could go back, and just above the Linda Park painting, we've got Autumn Glow, and we've put that painting high up, and it looks totally different from when we unpacked it and we photographed it. And Tom won't talk in the video, but he's nodding his head, and it just looks glorious here. Talking about Dale again, right up at the top here, Tarbert Evening, and I don't want to go on about my past life too much, but I think I sold about half a dozen hotels right there at Tarbert, and so I can tell you he's really captured. And I love the idea of the lone fisherman coming in. Sometimes the harbour at Tarbert can be very, very busy with yachtsmen. Just next to it, we're going right there to see a David Smith, utterly beautiful, of Arran, Morning Clouds Arran. So many of the people who watch these videos live in Arran or have holiday homes in Arran. And I know Arran really well, and it's just the most happy, uplifting painting. Moving on, Tom, right next here, we've got two beautiful small Marion Drummonds. They're 12 by 12 inches, including the frames, they're probably about close to 2 feet. They're glorious paintings. I think I said to somebody in a video recently, I said to Tom and told all of you, a very, very discerning global collector said to me, they're delicious. And she said the same about Alison Cowan's, in a very different style altogether. But aren't these utterly beautiful, of the rhododendrons and of the tulips? In fact, the tulips painting, I think, will be sold within the next 2 days. And next to that, we have another painting by Dale Bisland called Silver Sands. And again, I think the light that we have on in the gallery just shows it beautifully. And it's very important to get the lighting right. Just nip down there, Tom. That's a small Anoram painting. We're waiting on new paintings to arrive from Anne. So I hope you're not getting dizzy watching me here, but going up to the top, Marion Drummond, look at this. Literally finished in Marion's easel about a week ago, I think. Sunny sunflowers, oil and linen. She's an expert at painting sunflowers. I'm not too keen on paintings of sunflowers where they look like big smiley faces. I quite like the slightly drooping, it's maybe been in the vase for a couple of days. It's an outstanding painting. It's 30 by 30 inches, including the gorgeous frame by Alan Black in Glasgow, who does a lot of my artist's framing. About 40 by 40 inches, £4,950. That's a cracker. And underneath the Marion Drummond, what do we have here? Now, there is glass in this painting, so there's a bit of reflection. So we've spoken about the Jack Morocco Studio Still Lifes. I've literally had this painting for, well, I think I told you I had about 8 paintings arrive less than 2 weeks ago, and I think we've only 2 left. If you would like Tom to zoom in on that from a moment, and also maybe the Marion painting, I'm going to open something up. I've just unpacked this cracker by Jack Morocco also. It's tiny. Well, it's not tiny. It's 8 by 10 in a beautiful frame, which roughly makes it probably 18 by 20 inches roughly, and a gorgeous frame. It's called La Piazzetta, Passing Clouds, obviously in Venice. And I think we've spoken about this before, a bit like a Smollene Faulkner. This allows people who've always wanted a Morocco to get in there at just £2,600. So I'm getting these signs by Tom sort of doing this all the time where we're about to wind up. But if you have a look here, I just want to talk about a couple more paintings. Michael Clark's Good Friends, Oil and Linen. Mike Clark is a great guy, and he again spends a lot of time in the south of France. 2 chaps, you know, having a chat, leaving the boulangerie, and just picking up on life. And I would like to also highlight here, we have new paintings by the fabulously talented Stanley Bird, and we've put 3 here because they almost match, and they're absolutely gorgeous. Home Sweet Home, Primavera. Check this out. They've got style, they've got fun, they've got cheek. Actually, not unlike Stanley. I shouldn't have said that, he'll be annoyed. But these, you know, some of Stanley's paintings are a lot more expensive, but these are only about £475, £480. So next to a lovely Carol Schooler painting of a watercolour of boats at high tide at Dunure Harbour. Dunure is not far from Turnberry. So I think I can't go on. I'm just glancing at Margaret Evans. I'm glancing at Alistair Little. I'm having a look at Jackie Henderson and everything. So I can't go on about everything. Funnily enough, Ryan Mutter, which is underneath a lovely big Cecilia Cardiff, the painting of the Queen of the Sea and the Clyde, I actually saw at an auction a painting smaller than that, much older than that, and I think it went for well over £3,000. It's nice to see things going at auction for more they are in a gallery. So I think, if you don't mind, if we just round up now by saying that's what's happened, that's what's been happening at the Ballater Gallery. We're far from being closed, as all of you know. We've been very busy, but it's really exciting that the sun's out in Ballater. Fiona and Helen are coming in to tidy up my mess with me later today. Everybody's worked really hard to get everything hanging. Well, we've found a new system, and I don't know, Tom, if you can quickly show where we're managing to hang the paintings to be seen from the front and another painting at the back. In fact, if you have a look at the Damien Callan painting of the fisherman, and that's a private sale painting, which we have a large private sales section, which I would also urge you to have a look at, because in the private sales section, I have explained before, occasionally, I'm not pushing that side of the business too much, we will sell on behalf of somebody, or occasionally gallery owned. And we have new paintings in the private sales section by, oh no, let me remember this, Chris Bush, Niall Hanna, and Eric Auld. So Howard Butterworth. We're selling these on behalf of people, but not represented as part of our gallery stable. If anybody wants to talk about that a bit more, they can email me. But there are opportunities there as well. So try and come and see us, or just, if you prefer, you're down south, just drop me an email as normal. But in the meantime, welcome back to the Ballater Gallery in reality.